By the time you find out a SEAL team has hit you, they're already gone. It takes a special kind of person to qualify for this role, and if you do, you better be ready to prove it with your smarts, strength, and willingness to march head-on into impossible situations. Because your team is the one they're going to call for the last-ditch reconnaissance missions and operations that, quote-unquote, never happened. One day you'll be swimming out of a torpedo tube, and the next day you could be dropping into enemy territory out of a helicopter. It takes intense courage to be a Navy SEAL, and that's what makes them the best of the best. If you have what it takes, then the Navy has a place for you among the ranks of the elite.
In times of old, in times of new, there's a God to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field, and you will.
Chris, do you have any New Year's resolutions? Oh my God. It's going to be a great session. War. War never changes. Can Spider-Man come out to play?
Okay, no, you're playing mode.
Make your choice. Choose, Peter.
Choose!
You're not helping your voice.
I know.
All right, whenever you're ready.
I just squirted.
It's I realize you don't. I feel like you guys know Huey Lewis. Huey Lewis in the news, like he got throat cancer. That's like really sad because that's what he does for a living is he sings.
Yeah.
So I was just realizing like when your profession is talking all the time, it's like one of those things. It's like being a guitar player and then you lose
break
your
your
hands.
fingers.
Yeah, you break your fingers.
Yeah.
Or being Doctor Strange. You know, you're a surgeon and you break your hands. Then you become the Sorcerer Supreme, which I guess is kind of a lateral move.
Yeah, of course. I would consider that vertical.
I mean, he can still use his hands. So I don't feel like his hands.
Get
are-
vertical. Gotta get elevated. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm just gonna wang.
Hopefully we got all that right. Okay, good. All right, good. That was for you.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. All right, let's just get this out of the way, folks. I got sick. It wasn't COVID, but it was throat related, and I'm still
got
recovering. So
A gnarly throat thrashing.
I feel really bad for people who are like have auditory sensitivities because there's gonna be a lot of like swallows and coughings and gurgling sounds throughout the course of this and the next couple episodes.
Yeah. So turn your speakers up if you're
Turn 'em
into
up.
that ASMR.
Yeah,
Into that good
or just turn
purpose.
subtitles on YouTube.
It is. But hello and welcome to the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast, sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, the military, and pop culture. My name is Cameron Fath. Thank you all for joining us on this amazing episode, and here with me as always,
Israel Wright. It's good to be back, folks. We love you all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, folks. We're in the new year. Is this the first episode? No, this is not the first episode of the new year. I am wrong.
It's all right. Happy New Year. I say it until June, actually, because it's technically the newer year until June, and then it becomes the old year. So I'm going to say Happy New Year for like the next 6 months.
That's cool, man. I mean, I've been trying to figure out when to take down my Christmas decorations. Like, when is it culturally and just okay to do so?
If you can hide it until June, then you can just keep it up.
I
So
honestly,
I'm
right
You should have already done it.
I have.
Oh,
Chris.
okay, good.
I have,
Thank
'cause
God.
I think December 26th, okay, Christmas is over.
December
Suck it the fuck up. Put your shit away.
Yeah, get
And
over it.
And my girlfriend was like, no, this goes up, like, we keep it up. And I said, for how long? And I actually looked it up, and it's traditionally January 6th or 5th.
What?
6th? Yeah, okay, Amy's
It's
not
like
your head.
Disneyland.
Yeah,
January
it's a,
6th.
It's a Christian belief, correct? Right? That you leave it up to the 6th.
I don't think Christmas trees are actually in Christianity. Like,
No,
at
they're
all.
pagan.
Yeah, they're very
No,
pagan.
they're very pagan.
But I like
how
the
we-
idea that you want to box it up on the 26th because that's Boxing Day. So you're like, I'm going to box up all my shit.
Oh.
But then
That's
you don't
not
actually
in
put it
celebration of the
away.
Boxer Rebellion in China? Or,
It's not
Okay.
for what I said,
right.
but I like that that's what Cameron does or
Yeah.
wants to do.
But yeah, January 6th. So you know what I did? I put it away yesterday on the 5th. Because I said, No more, sir. I create my own traditions. But anyways, what are we talking about?
So
what's this episode about?
This episode, folks, we get asked a lot of there are questions that we get asked, Cameron and I, about our military experience and things about the military. Some questions get asked more than others.
Yeah.
So today we're going to try to tackle one question that we get asked quite a lot, which is what are the differences and similarities between some of the United States Armed Forces elite units. Think Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Rangers, JTACs, pararescue, all that kind of stuff.
TACPs.
Yeah, TACPs, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we're going to get into the nitty-gritty about typically what branches contain what units, and just kind of give you guys the down and dirty of SOF. Now, disclaimer, we are not claiming that Army Special Operations is better than the entire military. No. Even though it is. But we want to let you all know, if
wink,
you
wink.
are wink wink, we appreciate everyone's service, and this is just for those that are curious about.
When I was doing research, I was reading a lot of the descriptions of these different units and stuff, and I realized conventional forces are like what you would imagine, like force on force. You got a bunch of people in one uniform, but
they are what's known as an occupying force. Meaning,
is that an official term?
Think about it. So you have special operations, which are very precise, very mobilized, very fast-moving units. Which you give them one mission, they destroy it.
Right.
So that's yes, but conventional forces are what's known as an occupying force. So mainly, if you need to hold a position for long periods of time and make your presence known, aka the GWAT, conventional forces are going to be what you are typically going to be seeing out there.
Basically, the infantry and everybody who supports the infantry.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I was told in AIT, because I did infantry AIT. You did too, right?
Yes, of course.
That's what they say. It's basically there's the infantry, and then there's everybody who supports the infantry.
Yes, exactly. Tip of the spear. But with no further ado, I think we should get into this and start out with just kind of explaining the different branches and what contain them. But before that, there's something called a tier system. So
to explain it to me, because if there's one thing I realized in the midst of researching for this episode,
there's a lot of things that's not mentioned.
I barely knew what I did, apparently.
Yeah, you're like, and you're just there existing.
Yeah. So good. Go ahead, man. Go to the
basically there is a tier system, all right? And every unit is categorized based on their tier. And tier is just the higher tier you are, so tier 1 is going to be your highest. That's going to be your most elite unit. That's going to be your most capable unit. That's going to be your most funded unit. And then you move down the ladder to tier 2 and then tier 3. So I'll start at the ground level here, which is, think about tier 3 is as your conventional unit. So you got your, Army infantry,
First
your
ID, 82nd Airborne.
82nd Airborne. You got your basic Marine infantry. You got, all these. When you sign you sign on the dotted line and go through not very much specialized training, with the exception of Marine Force Recon, conventional forces are going to be considered a tier 3 unit, right? And then you move up the ladder, and you got tier 2. And this is where you start to cusp SOF. Okay. So tier 2 units are going to include ourselves. So Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, PJs. All these units that we're going to be talking about today are considered tier 2. Now, tier 1 are going to derive themselves from the Special Operations unit and are going to be units within these units. So if you think about it, like Delta Force, or known as CAG, or used to be known as ACE. They have all these cover names, but CAG which is what I know them by. So I'm probably just gonna, if I say CAG, I'm talking about Delta.
Army Compartmented Elements was something I'd never.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah. I was just used to CAG because that's when I went and worked with them. At Bragg, I was like, okay, we're at the CAG compound or at Delta compound. But anyways, so Delta Force is considered a tier 1 unit, but they are technically at their core Green Berets.
Right, because it's I actually didn't know this until recently. It's Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta.
Yeah, so they're considered their first group, right? They're out of first Special Operations group, but they're Detachment Delta, which is their own animal because it's a tier 1. Yeah. And if you think about it too, you go to Army Rangers and you're like, well, Army Rangers are tier 2. Do we have a tier 1? Yes, we do. Tier 1 for Army Rangers is going to be RRC, which is Ranger Reconnaissance Company, and then you have RRD, which is Ranger Reconnaissance Detachment, which is are Tier 1 units. So you have to go to a selection process within the 75th to get into RRC, which is considered our Tier 1 unit. Oh, wow. And then, and then you got Navy SEALs, right? So Navy SEAls, regular SEAL teams, SEAL team 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you. They are Tier 2. And then you talk about SEAL Team 6, which is considered DevGru. That's going to be their Tier 1 capable unit. Right. So just to get the tier system out of the way, that you guys get a warm and fuzzy and you can understand that, there's different tiers and there's different levels and there's different types of funding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice, man.
But
let's, do you want to get into the second most elite unit in the Army, which would be, you want to start with Army Rangers?
Sure, man, if you want to go there. But I think we should go by branch, right?
Branch.
So we'll start with Army, that we know and we love, tried and true, the Army. So Army Special Operations consists of the U.S. Army Rangers, first and foremost.
Yep.
U.S. Green Berets. You also have 160th SOAR, which is Special Operations Aviation Regiment, which are fly boys. We love them. And then you also have Civilian Affairs and PsyOps as honorable mentions.
Right.
Because nobody really looks to them as Special Operations, even though they're like, we are Special Operations.
It's just not as sexy as we like to say.
It's not as sexy,
but it's still very important.
It is very important. They all feed off each other. But anyways, if you guys, I'll start with just because obviously my background is in the 75th Ranger Regiment, so I can talk about our capabilities and what we do. So, U.S. Army Rangers are pretty much just the top of my head. We are a direct action unit, meaning you need somebody dead, you call us.
Close with and destroy the enemy.
Exactly. I met this one dude the other day, and he was a Green Beret, and he said, Green Berets do exactly what Rangers do. It's just we use a scalpel and Rangers use a hammer. And I was like, if you're trying to hurt my feelings, like, you can't take down. I was like, you can't take down a brick wall with a surgeon's hammer, man. So I was like, I'll take it as a compliment.
I don't know that that's necessarily true. I feel like we have a different group structure, different command structure. Yeah. We do. I mean, we can do what's considered direct action. We did a lot of raids when I was in Iraq, but we are a small unit, literally. Like it's a 12-man team. Yeah. And stuff like that, and we're what's called a force multiplier. We aren't necessarily a large, massive kind of unit and stuff. The Rangers, they got platoon elements and regiments.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, Ranger Regiment is very small. When I was
comparatively,
when I was there was only 3,600 of us compared to I think Special Forces, which had around 5,000, 6,000.
Right.
So
yeah, we added when I was in we were adding an entire, I think it was a company to each Special Forces group at the time, and they were just starting to stand that up, and there was a big push. It's probably why I got through language training, because they just pushed everybody through.
Yeah.
No, there was a big buildup because there was they
needed the men,
right?
And it was funny because when I was in the second bat, we actually broke down a company and we lost Delta Company.
Wow!
So we were getting smaller. So I was very surprised by that. So we only had Alpha Bravo, Charlie, and then Delta became like an HHC for our recce and our snipers and our TSE guys, and then
HHC is what for?
Headquarters.
Okay.
Yeah, so but headquarters, and then we had an Echo Company, which was all our Ranger support, but they still had to go through RASP and get a Ranger tab and all that jazz. Okay. But along with direct action raiding, you have airfield seizure. Pretty much, if you need to seize an airfield to start flying in, people, 75th Ranger Regiments are going to be the ones that you call. Just off the top of my head, those are the biggest thing. Direct action raids. We're masters of the level 1 basics, so we were the most elite light infantry unit in the world.
I see right here on the website, the Big 5: philosophy, marksmanship, physical training, medical training, small unit tactics, and mobility.
Yeah, man.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the most elite. It's like infantry on steroids. And that's not a metaphor.
The basics to perfection.
Yeah, that's basics to perfection, and we do it well, and we do it better than everyone else. Yeah. But that's pretty much Army Rangers in a nutshell. So you want to talk about Special Forces? Yeah,
we can talk about Special Forces, man. So Green Berets, unconventional warfare, guerrilla warfare, right?
Yes.
Counterinsurgency, direct action, a little bit of direct action. Security force assistance is another one. I'm looking at the website here. Special reconnaissance. So small units, 12-man teams called an ODA. Operational Detachment Alpha. You got, excuse me, 2 of each specialty, of which there are 4. There's the Bravo, which is weapons, Charlie, which is engineer, demolitions, Delta, which is medic, and then Echo, which is communications, which is what I did. Then you have an intelligence sergeant, you have an officer, a warrant officer, and a senior NCO, right? And we're meant to be like modular, meant to go into, kind of the classic kind of Vietnam era, going into the indigenous peoples, training them up, becoming a force multiplier, training those troops up, building relationships, so there's a focus on that. What I did in Iraq, we did a lot of counterinsurgency because there was obviously, we were trying to legitimize and build up the current government.
Yes.
And the insurgency was trying to destabilize that. They were trying to delegitimize them. So everything we did with, local people, local Iraqis. We trained up. We did a lot of foreign internal defense, train, equip our allies and stuff like that to legitimize and build up and stabilize their government. And then we did some intelligence gathering and then also some direct action. We did nighttime raids, that's 0 Dark 30 kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we did it all. We're meant to be like modular, fast moving, like you say. Not necessarily like this massive force, like Rangers going in can't take an airport or anything like that, or an airfield. But the big thing is the force multipliers. We are meant to go into an area and augment it, train, kind of, transform it from, unfriendly to a friendly environment, kind of thing.
And you guys do it very well. And it's very interesting. Just for those of you listening, just remember what Israel said, and it's going to sound very familiar when we start to go down the other branches soft. Because it's when I was reading this, I was like, what's the difference?
Right.
It's hard to spot. It's hard to spot.
No, it is.
Yeah, it's just
because I feel like a lot of units have. I feel like the GWAT was this Global War on Terror. I feel like that. Maybe that was just because when I was going in, I went in 2005, got out in late 2009, early 2010 time period. And I feel like you were saying, you've said it in previous episodes, so much has changed between 2010 and 2022, 21. So much has evolved. I feel like a lot of units kind of have evolved their mission set to include a lot of different stuff that maybe they didn't before. So we can talk about that as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And just moving on down the list here, so we have the 160th SOAR guys. These guys, I love them.
Black Hawk Down would be something. All the aviation guys, they're helicopters, right?
Mostly rotor wing.
Yep.
So I mean, just going as far as their description here from the website, it's the 160 Special Operations Aviation Regiment's mission is to organize, equip, train, resource, and employ Army Special Operation Aviation forces worldwide in support of contingency missions and combatant commanders, known as the Night Stalkers. So these guys are pretty much going to be your chariot rides of death when if Rangers or Green Berets need to infill somewhere, exfil, these are going to be the dudes that are giving them a ride.
Really high end. You go into YouTube, there's one clip that kind of encompasses some of
the
what
Night
they do.
Stalker. Are you talking about where the Chinook has like the landing pad right off the edge of the building?
Right on the corner of a building. It lands, the guys get off, and then it takes off. So the guy he has to hold there. Yeah, because he's not landing because that building corner couldn't.
Yeah. No, the 160th SOAR dudes, I have a very soft spot in my heart for them because they are so good at their job.
Yeah.
So good at their job. And not to mention, they got the big guns. They got the mini guns on the sides of their Chinooks. I mean, huge difference, like noticeable difference when working with different aviators in the military. I mean, I worked with 2nd ID in Korea when we were doing training missions there, and like that was one of the roughest rides I've ever had. And there is a huge training gap as far as just like the loadies, like knowing how to operate the doors at nighttime, and like just 160 SOAR was the most professional unit as far as like aviation unit I worked with, and man, they are badass.
I feel like you have complete confidence.
Oh yeah,
so
160 is I'm so I'm not worried about anything bad happening in the bird. But when I'm with another unit, like a conventional unit, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put my safety line in and hold on for your God. But no, the Night Stalkers are famous for their all black helicopters. So like the Chinooks we flew in were just straight all black. They had the fuel rod coming off the front of it. You can always tell if 160s was coming if you saw the miniguns and the fuel cell coming out the front of the bird. So shout out to the Night Stalkers because they are my boys, man. I love the Night Stalkers.
I don't know that I ever got to actually work with them when I was going through. There was never any I forget. I can't remember if
We worked with them religiously.
They are at Fort Lewis though.
We were they had one. Yeah, 160 was there, and they flew us for every training mission we did. And then overseas, you get flown by 160s too.
That's super cool.
Yeah, man, they were awesome. But I mean, moving down the list to our honorable mentions here. I mean, we say this because they are part of the U.S. USASOC and the Special Operations Command, but they don't get enough credit because their selection process is weak. No, I'm kidding.
What is this?
Yeah, we got the PsyOps guys, so the psychological operations. And pretty much what they do is they're communication experts who persuade our allies and enemies to act in our nation's best interest. They're like the Quasimodos, man. I mean, I probably said that reference.
I am not an animal. I am a human being.
I feel like
the Elephant Man of the.
No, I mean I'm trying to think of like a sidekick. It's probably a bad description.
Redheaded stepchild.
Yeah, well, no, I mean they are pretty good at what they do as far as their entire like skill set is just to leverage their cultural like expertise and their language skills and military deception to sway opinions and actions.
Right.
So like they're like the mole that like swindles their way into the brains of the enemy and sway them politically.
Mentally degrade the enemy and mentally build up our allies and stuff.
Yeah, they're psychological warfare. They're the guys that are like blasting music over a loudspeaker or like dropping pamphlets and flyers overseas that are like pushing a political agenda to sway the fighters of like another nation or sway the civilians to uprise against their people. So yeah, they do a lot of cool stuff, man. And typically out of Fort Bragg, I know a lot of them. They get a lot of these PsyOps dudes and ladies are attached to, I've seen them attached to regiment and stuff. But yeah, it's a cool job. But I don't think they get enough credit.
It's an unsung. Really, it's not. We make fun of it, but it's an unsung but important part of warfare, right?
Exactly.
When we think of warfare, we think of direct action. We think kicking in doors.
Yeah, everyone thinks of the door kicker type.
Yeah, exactly. We think of direct action stuff, but like everything that surrounds that can encompass psychological warfare. So you think about if you watched Dunkirk, at the beginning those guys are walking through the empty town, there's pamphlets. They're being dropped by the Germans saying, we have you surrounded and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's PsyOps.
Yeah, that's PsyOps 100%. And I mean, and they go hand in hand with this next unit, which is civilian affairs. And they're going to be, which is, an extremely important thing. And they're going to be the diplomacy experts who help reduce instability and enable local governments abroad. So they're the ones that are going to be, meeting with the local populace and basically trying to figure out what they want and how to win their hearts and
minds.
Hearts and minds, civilian affairs, especially like we usually would have like a CA woman attached to one of the, attached to a platoon of Rangers going out because, if you encounter women out there, children, typically the CA team would intercept them because they would be compromised of women on women back overseas. It'd be you can't have a man search a woman over there.
Culturally, there's a lot.
Yeah, culturally, there's a lot of problems. So a lot of the times, the CA would be a female and be attached to Ranger platoons and help them with that. So extremely important job there too.
Especially if you want to it's sometimes it's. Fighting is not the thing that you need to do. Not blowing up weapons and shooting people. So if you need to win people over, basically. That's civil affairs. That's PsyOps right there.
I know, and they're extremely important. I mean, like you said, when people think warfare, they think door kicker, they think Army Ranger, Navy SEAL, Green Beret, all that, Marine Raider, all that crazy, cool, sexy boy shit. But at the end of the day, that can only get so far.
Yes.
So those are kind of the unsung heroes of the SOF universe as far as Army Special Operations. But
we salute you.
We salute you, Army SOF. But we are going to now move to Navy, the Navy Special Operations. So most famously in the Navy are going to be your Navy SEALs, your sea, air, and land.
Wait, did we talk about Delta Force or did we talk about that?
You want to talk about Delta? We can talk about Delta.
I'm looking at my notes here. I don't want to skip that because that's technically still the Army.
Yeah, it's still the Army. I mean, Delta Force, also known as CAG, also known as, CAG stands for Combat Applications Group, and also known as Army Compartmented Elements, which is ACE.
Interesting. I feel like they're trying to get more obscure to kind of throw
they all
do.
I tell you, they changed your name twice when I was in. And so Delta Force, known as CAG, which is Combat Applications Group, known as, what is it? ACE again, Army compartmented elements, which was a new one to me. I mean, they changed. It seems like they changed their name twice when I was in the military, and
I feel like they're just gonna keep. Pretty soon they're gonna call them like generalized people weapon group.
I mean, they even changed their name to Gablestone.
What?
When I was in GB, it was like, we're working with Gablestone, and then it became CAG, and I'm like, oh, okay. It changed like twice in 6 months.
Doesn't even mean anything.
But no, these dudes from personal experience. These dudes from personal experience are the real deal, man. Like there was being an Army Ranger, I thought we were extremely elite, and we are. But I've never seen something more terrifying.
What about them? Differentiating.
They're the best.
They're the best.
They're the best at everything.
More,
oh my god, I saw
train
them
to perfection.
I haven't had children yet, which I assume,
Whoa.
which I assume will be like the best day of my life. But until that happens, the best day of my life was watching CAG clear a building. We went there for 3 weeks. We did a CAG suit because my platoon deployed with them to Iraq, and that was one of the deployments I didn't have the opportunity to go on because when they were in Iraq having fun and getting after it, I was in Ranger School freezing and starving. So that was a good kick in the ass. But I got to go on the train up for it. So and I was a private at the time, so it was really cool to see the dynamic because the most humble dudes. They are one of the hardest working guys. And it's funny because, if you think about like a Delta guy, you think just behemoth of a man. And they have those types. But it's either they're behemoth of a man or they're a small nerd. There's no in between. There's no in between with it's weird. So they're either like you're CAG or they're like you're CAG. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, the best day of my life was we're basically doing Battle Drill 6, enter building clearing with them, room clearing with them, and they were training us up and they were seeing how capable we were, and we were doing good. But the sergeant major of that unit was like, hey, you guys want to see like an HRT demonstration? Everybody get on like the catwalk and we'll demonstrate how we do like a hostage rescue. And the building was around 6 rooms with 5 targets in each, and like they had their dudes like positioned maybe 100 meters from it, and there was 2 external breaches. So pretty much what they had to do is they had to explosive breach the outside simultaneously and then clear 6 rooms. I said 6 rooms, right? And then clear all 6 rooms and eliminate all the targets and then back clear. That was pretty much what they had to do. So all the dudes are like standing around, just like around in a circle, and we're like, are they ready to go? And the sergeant major's like on the radio, and he's like, all right. He's like, you guys ready? And he goes, don't blink. And he goes, 3, 2, 1, go. And from this gaggle, two squads just come sprinting, like pew pew, like, and they're sprinting at full speed. As they're sprinting, the breacher is literally prepping his breach while he's sprinting, and like it. Dude, okay, just to put it, it was nuts. It was like everybody, it was like choo choo choo, like you're like trying to find out where to go. It's like don't literally blink, and then they, just to put it in a nutshell, they explosive breached, cleared 6 rooms, and put 6 to 8 rounds in about like a 4-inch grouping in the A zone of each target and back cleared it in 17 seconds.
What?
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, I've never seen a breach like that. Literally, he goes, and for the listeners, just imagine the time it takes for me to finish this statement. The door has been blown off the hinges. So that fast, right? They go in, as the 1 and 2 man are literally engaging targets in that L shape. The 3 and 4 man are sprinting into the next open door. Yeah. So yeah, they were able to clear and back clear and kill everything in there, all the targets, in less than 17 seconds. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
You one of the things I love about that is you think about any area of life, any area of like business or art or military finance, where there's something about when you see like excellence, you know it when you see it. Like when you see somebody that they don't just make it look easy. They just make it look like the easiest thing in the world.
It's second nature.
And you are emotionally and physically affected by what you're seeing. You know, whether it's like a beautiful performance on stage or whether it's seeing Delta Force clear a room. It's crazy. I love it.
I was gonna say it sounds like battle ballet. Like it's
I
so
don't know.
choreographed
It
and
was
so
flawless.
rehearsed. Yeah.
It was flawless. And
victory.
these dudes, when we were with them in Syria, and like they're newer guys, you think once you make it to Delta, you're set, and it's like once you get through CAG selection, once you become the newest guy on Delta, we were talking to them, and he's like, yeah, man, he's like, my first 4 or 5 months, he's like, I didn't shoot around.
Wow.
He's like, I literally had to do hours and hours of dry firing before they would even let me shoot around at the range.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, and you're just like, okay, you think you make it, and then you just you might be like physically fit to get to CAG selection.
Yeah.
But it takes a very specific individual that they're looking for. Because I've known some monstrosities of men that you're like, yeah, this guy can be CAG. And they've gone to CAG selection and were not selected because of personality issues. So it's not just
it's not just the physical
not just-
ability.
yeah.
It's the ability to work well within an elite group.
yeah, and you need to
know.
be a very personable person. You need to have good moral values. You need to be a good moral character. And it's not just I can carry a 90-pound ruck for like 30 miles. It's more than that. But so Delta has a very, very until my children are born, they are the best thing that has happened to me in my lifetime.
Which is funny because the first iteration, the first kind of unofficial formation of Delta Force was actually kind of born out of a failure a little bit because of 1979 Iran hostage situation. Mark Bowden, the guy who wrote Black Hawk Down, wrote about it. Guests of the Ayatollah is a book he wrote, but it was about the rescue operation that Carter had attempted to do to get those people out. And that was like the first kind of formation of this elite kind of strike force that eventually turned into the formation of Delta. But it was a rescue attempt, and there was some problem. They had some deaths in the mission, and in the beginning of the mission, they ended up aborting and not trying it. But that is actually what ended up kind of giving them the idea of like, let's do this thing, and it ended up becoming like Delta Force. But
Yeah, man.
it's just that's just an interesting like little side note to like that's just an interesting little side note to like just how far they've come, and just the idea that was founded at that point, and then where it's come to like right now.
Yeah, man, they are amazing. They are perfection of the military. It's
And
nuts.
and that's another thing too. A lot of stuff that you and I do, and then Delta Force and a lot of these elite units. What I love is that a lot of times you will never know what they did.
No.
You'll never hear about anything that they've done.
No.
I feel like Delta Force has
is-
gotten a little bit. SEALs are kind of like they stereotypically get like all the limelight and stuff in the books and book deals and stuff, but like typically you don't hear about the things that they've done. You know?
Because they are the definition of silent professional.
Yep.
Extremely. So kudos to Delta. Those dudes f***ing rock. And if you're an enemy of the United States, you should sleep with one eye open because literally you're dead.
We'll come to
They're coming for you. Okay. Well, anyways, moving on to the Navy. Moving on to the Navy. And like I said, the most popular of all the Navy SOF units is going to be your SEALs. So sea, air, and land. I know a couple SEALs, pretty good guys as individuals. They get a bad rep in the special operations universe just because everyone thinks they're a bunch of cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as far as their specialties, tell me if this sounds familiar. Direct action, counterterrorism, foreign internal defense,
Wait a
special
second.
reconnaissance, unconventional warfare.
That sounds very familiar.
It sounds very familiar, and you're going to hear that again when we move to the Marine Corps special operations. It's like, make up your mind. But, SEALs are some of the toughest dudes, physically fit, tough guys that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
That's one thing that gives, SEALs a lot of respect in my book is, they may not be the most tactically competent as far as just like their abilities in to do battle drills and all that stuff. But man, they can
That grit
carry.
don't quit.
Yeah, they got grit, man. They can run forever. They could ruck forever. They are just
Swim forever.
They are physical monstrosities.
There's something about maritime operations, like water-based operations, because we're human beings. We weren't made for the water. We can't breathe in water, and something about adding that element to your
I hate the
training
water,
and your mission set. That's a cut above, man. That's
It is,
instant
yeah.
respect,
It is. It's like if you can survive in a environment that we're biologically designed not to be in, kudos to you. Because I am not a good. I can swim. Don't get me wrong, but I am not like swim 500 meters very fast type of
And
swimmer.
they got the land-based stuff too, because I don't know if you've been paying attention for the past decade, but we've been on land-based stuff pretty much almost.
Yeah, there's been no
two
water.
deserts,
Yeah, there's been no water except for the cargo ship rescue. What was that? Captain Phillips? What that movie was based?
Yeah, Captain
off of?
Phillips. Yep.
Yeah, and they took a movie. Yeah, that's good sniper shot on a.
And you
boat.
believe that. You believe that after hearing about what their capabilities are,
Yeah.
hearing about like SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force, you believe it's not such a far cry for the imagination to believe that they could, on a moving boat,
Yeah.
hit a bunch of people all simultaneously,
Oh yeah, man. It's not, Yeah, it's. I mean, you train for that. And they go through their own sniper course, and they can do all these things.
Can I just read? I'm on the Navy.com/SEALs.
Please.
Like, you talk about like a selling point or like a good PR campaign.
Yeah, what's gonna make these high school kids stop messaging me of how to become a Ranger and start messaging other SEALs? How do I become a Navy SEAL?
By the time you find out a SEAL team has hit you, they're already gone. It takes a special kind of person to qualify for this role, and if you do, you better be ready to prove it with your smarts, strength, and willingness to march head-on into impossible situations. Because your team is the one they're going to call for the last-ditch reconnaissance missions and operations that, quote-unquote, never happened. One day you'll be swimming out of a torpedo tube, and the next day you could be dropping into enemy territory out of a helicopter. It takes intense courage to be a Navy SEAL, and that's what makes them the best of the best. If you have what it takes, then the Navy has a place for you among the ranks of the elite. That's literally off the Navy website.
And then you'll get a book deal.
And then you'll get a book deal, and maybe they'll make a movie about your life.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Talk about a selling
Yeah,
point,
if you're
man.
like we get all these kids that message us, and nothing wrong with it about knowing, but
No, hey, we love all our fans.
yeah, we love everyone who
contact
is
us.
interested in us, but you read that as a very easily influenced child, and you're like, I'm gonna be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, that
And
pumps
that's
you
it.
up. I want to be a Navy SEAL now.
Yeah, absolutely. I just gotta get my runtime down.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, those guys, most iconic, military special operations group, as far as the most known by the civilian world, just because
Sure.
of their books and the movies and the media coverage of them. I mean, if you ask a civilian, oh, you ever heard of Delta Force? And they're like, no. I'm like, you ever heard of SEAL Team 6? And they're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Captain
yeah.
Phillips, they got the
Zero
video
Dark
game,
30.
Zero Dark 30, Charlie Sheen, Michael
Yeah,
Biehn.
yeah,
Yeah.
of
1990s movie, yep.
But let's get to another unit here. I know these guys, but not a lot of people know what supports the SEALs. So you ever heard of, the Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewmen, SWCC guys?
I
Not
had
to be
not
confused with the Green Beret Q Course SWCC guys.
No, yeah, different SWCC. Yeah.
Different SWCC.
Special Warfare
Navy
Training
SWCC.
Center in school. No.
Yeah, no. So these SWCC guys.
I had not heard of these guys until I started doing research for this episode.
Yeah, so the Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewmen. Have you ever seen Act of Valor?
Yes.
When they come in on the boat and
In
the
the
minigun
swampy
is
area?
rocking and they picks them up? Those
Yeah.
are SWCC guys.
Yeah, all right. There you
They're
go.
essentially the 160th. They are the SOAR, 160th SOAR of the Navy, and instead of helicopters, they use boats.
Got it.
So they are going to be your Navy 160th on the water. So that's how I kind of explain it to people, because they're
that.
always like, "What? What's a SWCC dude?"
Right.
It's initially the Navy's 160th, but with boat dudes, and they're called boat dudes. That's literally that's their nickname, boat guys. They're same capabilities, exfil, hot infill. They got a bunch of guns on their boats. They got miniguns. They got 240s. They know how to use them. They know how to get you out of hot situations. And a perfect example, if you want to know what they do, is literally just watch Act of Valor. And when they're exfilling in that swamp scene and they come in and the boats start, just ripping rounds out of the minigun, those are your SWCC guys.
Yeah.
So that's going to be they can infill from the water. They can be dropped from an aircraft, onto the water from their boats. A lot of capabilities, a lot of cool things they can do. So yeah, those dudes work very closely with the Navy SEALs, and any special operations unit that want to do maritime operations will work with SWCC.
I like that. That's an interesting aspect of the military, that they're, the guys that get the guys that go to the guys or transport the guys that you hear about. Those guys need specialized training too, because those, where you are going is going to be denied territory or hostile territory.
Yeah.
And so you need somebody that has that extra training that's going to get our guys to that spot.
the mobility in a nutshell is like their expertise is mobility.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's SWIC guys. Pretty cool job. But, I hate the water, so not for me. But moving down, a lot of people don't know the combat support and combat service support. So the CS and the CSS guys in the Navy. So, that's kind of just like an umbrella term. It's gonna consist of like those communication teams, tactical, cryptologic support, and your EOD guys. So like Navy EOD are, they're technically considered special operations because they're under that, Navy special warfare umbrella.
Combat divers, explosive divers.
All those dudes. So they don't get a lot of they don't get a lot of spotlight, which is cool because Navy SEAL steals it all.
Right.
But these guys are pretty much, as far as their their description here, because they say on the website, I'm under nsw.navy.mil. It says, if SEALs and SWIC are considered the action arms of NSW, then CS and CSS are the backbone of the organization. SEALs rely heavily on the services of technicians such as mobile communication teams, tactical cryptological support, and explosive ordnance disposal specialists. CS/CSS teammates contribute heavily towards the success of the Special Warfare Operations mission.
Gotcha.
So, pretty much the guys behind the scenes, what make it work.
The guys behind the guys, which is important, man. Like
EOD is extremely important.
Yeah,
super important.
Because you think about the people who get all the glory or the people who get the spotlight, but it takes a whole team of teams to support those guys so that they can get their mission done, which is
absolutely.
super important.
It is super important, and that's pretty much encompassing what Naval Special Warfare, the NSW, which is like their special operations universe. So you got, your Navy SEALs, you got your SWIC dudes, your boat guys, and then you got your CS and CSS teams. And that's going to be what you typically find in the Navy Special Operations. So, Department of the Navy, which could be considered the Marine Corps, which is the Department of the Navy, they have their own special operations. So this one's kind of tricky.
Marines, okay.
Yeah, so moving on to the Marine Corps. This one's actually... I feel so bad.
Why?
I feel so bad for the Marine Corps and their special operations because they kind of got f***ed over. And it's, they have their, MARSOC is Marine Special Operations Command, and and MARSOC is typically Marine Raiders. They are, definition, the same exact thing as Green Berets. They do the same exact thing as Green Berets, just in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
They get,
Which this sounds familiar because when I was going to Halo School in 2007, a bunch of young guys coming through who were Marines, and they were Marine Force Recon, and we talked about what they did.
So, Force Recon is different from MARSOC.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm going to shut my mouth.
Yeah. So, Force Recon guys, this is where I said it's kind of f***ed up. Because, in Marine Corps, you have Force Recon and MARSOC. Even though they sound very similar, they are, one is Special Operations, and one is Special Operations, quote unquote, capable. And Force Recon is not under, Marine Special Operations. They're under the conventional Marine side. Okay. So it's very interesting. So the Marine Corps controls Force Recon. They do not control MARSOC. This SOCOM, essentially, the Special Operations Command, controls MARSOC and Army Rangers. And, just like, think about, does TRADOC tell Green Berets or Rangers what to do?
Right, no.
No, they don't, because we used to be under USASOC, which is U.S. Army Special Operations Command, and now I think we're under JSOC, which is Joint Special Operations Command, which is way better.
Okay.
Yeah, just saying, it's way better.
I'll take
than
your word
USASOC.
for it.
Yeah. So the Marine Corps, it'd be like TRADOC controls Force Recon and USASOC controls MARSOC, if that makes sense.
Right.
In that
TRADOC is training and indoctrination.
Yeah, so it's like the conventional side. So the conventional military, the conventional Marine Corps controls Force Recon, even though they get the same training, they get the same equipment as MARSOC, but they're not considered special operations, which is kind of crazy. And I think based off my research, and if you're a MARSOC guy, chime in here, send us an email, let us know, man, because I know quite a bit of MARSOC guys, and they're pretty salty about what happened. Because when they were standing up MARSOC, they kind of just like waved the magic wand and made like 2 battalions of Force Recon guys Marine Raiders, and there's like, congratulations, you're Marine Raiders now. And then I guess everyone else had to go through a selection process or something. But I could be wrong on that, so correct me if I'm wrong. But back in the day when they were like deciding, hey, Marine or we're going to make the military said, hey, we're going to make a lot of special operations units. And the Marine Corps is like, we don't want Force Recon to be special operations because all Marines are elite and no one specific Marine should be titled more elite than the other. And in my opinion, that's fucking horseshit.
Like if you're a cook.
Yeah, it's like this. You telling me this Force Recon guy that's Halo qualified that, went through a 9-week, basic reconnaissance course who's physically fit is not more elite than this cook that can barely pass his PT test? I was like, you're fucking kidding me. I would be pissed if that was me. But yeah, that's why I'm like, I kind of feel bad for them because the Force Recon guys are sitting there like shaking their hands,
right,
and being the redheaded stepchild because they're like, oh, you're not special operations, but like, hey, we do the same exact shit that we do. It's kind of like saying, the 82nd, they're like, you're conventional, but you're not an Army Ranger. It's like you get our scraps.
Yeah,
yeah,
and also it might be confusing for like mission sets. It's like, who do we need? Okay, let's get we need elite Marine units. All right, we got a bunch of cooks over here. No. I mean, like. We need
Force Recon. I mean, they're really good at their job. I mean, they are a 100% reconnaissance unit. So their primary set is just reconnaissance. It's not direct action, even though they're extremely capable of direct action. Their job is straight reconnaissance. So
and reconnaissance is like very important. That's collecting information,
gathering
up to the minute information, so that people can make the decisions about what to do and where to go.
Exactly, mobilize the rest of the force. So they are extremely important as far as because reconnaissance in a nutshell, it is battalion asset. It's not a company asset, and you work directly for the battalion commander or whatever commander you're underneath. So you are answering the questions that the commander needs to know before mobilizing anybody. So reconnaissance is extremely important, and I know a little bit about reconnaissance because I've been in a reconnaissance unit for the past 3 or 4 years, and it is fun and it is extremely necessary. But Force Recon guys are extremely good at their job. Now you go to MARSOC, and they are quote unquote the sexy Marine unit because they get all the cool equipment, a little bit more newer age stuff, and their mission set is extremely the same, or it's very close, if not the same, as the Green Beret and the Navy SEAL.
Yeah, see direct action, special reconnaissance, foreign internal defense.
Yep, same shit, different branch. So, they're all these units are extremely capable. It's just like, I just feel bad for the politics that go into the Marine Corps because all these Force Recon guys are trying to go MARSOC because they're like, well, we want to be special operations because technically we are capable.
Right.
But they don't give it to us. But yeah, those are great units. I have a lot of friends that are MARSOC dudes, and I know a couple of dudes that are Force Recon dudes, and all of them are studs. So, you still have to go through, a selection process for Force Recon. I think it's a 9-week, BRC, which is basic reconnaissance after your infantry training to get in a Force Recon unit, and then to go MARSOC, it's like a 9-month, or it's like a 3-week assessment and selection, and then 9-month MOS training, if I'm correct. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. That's just what I remember talking to some of these dudes.
Interesting.
Yeah, but pretty much the main difference between Force Recon and MARSOC is one is special operations and one is special operations capable. So
one does it. One could do it.
One could do
if
it.
they wanted to.
If they wanted to, but we don't want to. But anyways,
right.
So that's the Marine Corps. Kind of short and sweet as far as just like, there's not a lot of special operations things.
By the way, we should also. If you didn't get this before, this list is not exhaustive in terms of our description, stuff like that. Like we had to do a lot of research and stuff. I'm happy for this episode because it really clarifies a lot of questions that I had about different elite units, because I've been asked this question so many times. I'm starting to like second guess myself. Like, do I really know what these guys do? And so it's good to clarify.
It is good. And, I've had the pleasure of working with a lot of these dudes and having a lot of these dudes as friends.
Yeah.
Holy Jesus Christ. Sorry. We're about to move on to Air Force Special Warfare. So they're Air Force Special Operations. And I went on their website, and they say, and literally the first thing that's here is receive a $50,000 enlistment bonus.
Oh my God, that sounds
so Air Force.
Way to promote the stereotype Air Force.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're like, if you're ready to be challenged like never before by joining an elite team of special warfare airmen, you can receive a $50,000 enlistment bonus. Bonuses are earned upon completion of special warfare training pipeline and a 6-year enlistment contract. Oh my God, $50,000 to just
Well, I love this.
Pararescueman.
I love this.
Sign me up.
airforce.com/careers. The airmen who make up Air Force Special Warfare are the most specialized warriors on the planet. They're the ones that other special forces look to when the mission calls for their unique skills and fearless commitment. Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean,
okay, all right,
hey, man,
Air Force.
Let me put this out there. If I had to do it all over again, and I knew what I knew now, and like I was in my RASP shape where I was running like 5 miles in like 32 minutes, I would definitely go Air Force Special Warfare.
I didn't even know that these things existed, but when I joined the military, I barely knew about Rangers, and I just certainly didn't know about Green Berets. I had to be told halfway through basic training what they really did, you know.
Yeah.
So I never got to pararescue jumpers. The PJs are the ones you always hear about. They're like the mystery. They're like the Batman of the military.
Yeah, man. They're the Arc'teryx wearing. They're the fancy jacket wearing. You know, extremely physically fit, not tie-in experts. The PJs, they're cool, man. Their pipeline is hard too. Their pipeline is extremely challenging.
Well, you think about, I mean, what they do, pararescue, they are the ones who primarily, if there's a downed pilot or something like that in denied enemy territory, they're the ones who go in and get them. You think about the skill sets that have to be involved, all of the infiltration methods.
Oh, yeah, man. They are masters. Like I said, they're masters of the knot.
Yeah.
They know how to rope like motherfuckers.
A knot. I love
Yeah,
it.
dude, they know their knots, let me tell you. Also, I mean, they're combat medics, like they're specialized medics, and you think about it, PJs go to SOCOM. I'm sorry, SOCOM, which is Special Operations Combat Medic course.
Which is in itself
is
like,
very challenging,
like
and that's 9
weeks
months. Yeah, it's like 9 months.
Yeah.
It's and when you come out of SOCOM, you're I'm pretty sure you're like 2 years away from a PA when you get out, and then you are you're. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. What's the step above EMT? Pararescue. No, you're a paramedic.
Oh, paramedic.
You're paramedic qualified. Like you were good to go. A SOCOM medic is like, you know, medical student.
Yeah.
They're extremely knowledgeable, and
they go to military free fall. They go to SEER school.
oh, they go to everything.
Yeah.
And the PJs are awesome, but that's not what I'd want to do in.
What would you want to do?
I would want to be a TACP. That's what I would want to do. Is Tactical Air Control Party. A TACP. Those dudes are super cool, man. And we would have a TACP attached to every platoon in regiment.
Yep, we were familiar. We had a couple of these guys come through. Yep.
Yeah, and you know they were cool dudes. They were super cool dudes. And being in the Air Force, you don't have to listen to jack shit of anybody. They were just like someone would tell them what to do, and they're like, nah, I don't feel like it. And they would just do whatever the f they wanted. Not to mention their gear was way better than ours. Even though we had like, you know, PVS 31s, they would have PVS 31s with like autofocusers on them.
Because what do they got to do? They got to call in close air support.
Close air support. Their job is airstrike targeting, close air support, and special tactics. And they would, you know, they rolled with, you know, the company commanders, and they were the airstrike champions. They were like the god of the air. You want to call him, you know, an airstrike? The TACP is there to do it. I mean, we had our, you know, 13 Foxes. We had our forward observers, but the TACP was like the man to do it. And they were so good at their job. Like, I would sit there and watch a TACP just do his thing. Never put his hand on his gun. It would always just be his hands on his PTTs. And he would just be talking with the air, like, click, 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 click. And I was like, those dudes, you think like Ranger Platoon gets kills. No, the TACP will get 3 times the amount of kills that
right, confirmed kills, couple dozen.
Yeah, because they'd just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll level this building here. Boom, 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 drop a J&M on it. Boom, be like, here's coordinates on my thing, and he just, you know, you just leveled like 60 people.
Yep.
TACP, coolest job in my opinion, but you know, I'm biased just because if I knew what I knew now before I joined the military, I would want to be a TACP. And that's just because I have a very, you know, a big interest in radios nowadays. Because like
it's really interesting. Where do you think that comes from?
Because I understand what gets the kills. Like I understand, you know, being a door kicker to somebody that's just like, you know, they think warfare. They think, yeah, I kick in the door with my gun and I do this thing in the military. I want to be infantry, and then I do it, and I'm like, okay. I was like, we're extremely limited. And I was like, why am I going to... And then you get into mission stats where you're like, why am I going to commit a Ranger platoon to this when I can literally just level it with a bomb?
Yep.
And he's like, TACP, come here. Or FO, come here.
Yep.
And it's like, I was like, okay, those dudes are the ones that get after it. I was like, I can, you know, have a shorty. and have a really light gun and just literally carry 2 radios around and just be like click, 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 and just be more specialized and, get to wear whatever I want in an Arc'teryx jacket. That's super bad. Our TAC P's hair was like down to his shoulders. It was fucking nuts. Like they can do whatever they want. So TAC P, moving on. Sorry. They also, in the Air Force, they also have special reconnaissance, which are, pretty much a specialized Air Force reconnaissance asset, and global battle space access, intelligence and surveillance, special tactics as well. I've actually never worked with these guys.
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't even know much about them.
I'm looking at a few things. I'm looking at combat controller, CCT, and then I'm looking at special reconnaissance. And I don't know that I even knew that these jobs existed before we started doing research for this episode.
Yeah, I knew that it's kind of hard to, like, when you say, like, TAC P and CCT, they're very similar jobs. It's just, TAC Ps are going to be more of the call for fire aspect, and these guys are going to be more air traffic control, airfield establishment, special tactics. So, like, CCTs would kind of be like your on-the-ground pathfinders, if you will. So
seems like they'd be one of the first people in a battle space that really kind of prep things, which is super important.
They can establish airfields, they can establish landing zones, they can establish all that. They can also call for fire, but there's like it's very small differences between TAC Ps and CCTs. But in my opinion, I think TAC Ps are a little bit more direct action.
Right.
CCTs a little bit more in the backspace, doing the radio thing. But they're very similar jobs. Most demanding out of these all, I'd have to say PJs, just because of the medical, learning curve as well as
the nature of the mission.
Yeah, the nature of the mission. But out of special reconnaissance, CCT, PJ, TAC P, my favorite by far would be a TAC P.
Is Falcon and Winter Soldier, was he pararescue? I feel like he was, because that's where he got his wingsuit from. Probably. You guys can correct me on that if I'm wrong.
Yeah, probably. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
That's a good once over the world.
Yeah.
About.
I mean, we didn't talk about Coast Guard, but they're not a military branch. So I mean, that could be a different episode. Hey,
CAA's got their own little thing too.
Yeah, CIA's got their thing, but we're running a little low on time, so maybe that can be in another episode. Sorry, Coast Guard folks. I know you got a very cool special operations unit.
No, they do. Yeah, maritime operations.
Yeah,
we'll have a pity episode for the Coast Guard.
Yeah, the pity episode.
Talk about Ashton Kutcher.
Welcome to the pity party, pop culture field manual. This one's about the Coast Guard.
We could do a whole episode about the Coast Guard and film.
Yeah,
there's a couple movies.
I know we could do that.
Is that one with Bruce Willis?
One with Ashton Kutcher,
No, I don't know that one.
And Kevin Costner. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that one. I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So that others may live. I forget it.
Okay. Anyways, we'll do that because there's actually a lot of cool stuff that the Coast Guard does. So stand by, Coast Guard.
We love you. We love
we
Coast
do.
Guard.
But that's gonna wrap it up. We we hope we answered some questions about the differences and similarities. If we missed something, go ahead and hit us up on PCFM or pop. What is it? I forgot.
PCFM
podcast at gmail.com. Hit us up on PCFM podcast at gmail.com or on our Instagram page, PCFM podcast. But we're not done, folks. We want to say real quick that the PS5 raffle is over and done with, and a huge congratulations to Jordan Woods. I'm all over the place. I just finished my cup of coffee, so I am vibrating right now. Jordan Woods, good for you, man. You won that PS5. Thank you to everyone that participated.
Thank you.
And a huge, even bigger shout out to Matt W. for gifting us the PS5. We were able to raise over $2,100 for the Green Beret Foundation, which honestly, for our first raffle and having a podcast underneath a year, that's amazing.
That's a testament to all you guys, your support, this community, everybody who listens to the podcast and watches on YouTube.
Absolutely.
That's super cool. We really appreciate you guys.
We do. We appreciate you guys, and we look forward to continued support for charities out here and doing everything we can to help the veteran community and the pop culture community. So salute to everybody that's listening. We appreciate your support.
Yep.
Also, a thank you to Ryan and Will for buying us a coffee or two. We really appreciate your support. And for those of you listening, you can go ahead and buy us a coffee, which is a donation to the podcast. And it helps us run the stuff. It helps pay for our subscription. We got a couple coffees so far, and they help pay for these mics. So your guys' continued support is going to keep this podcast rolling.
We're not living off this we're not living off the income from the podcast.
Oh,
so
not
whatever
absolute-
money we get, it goes right back into
the
whatever we need for
podcast. So if you guys are feeling generous, we would really appreciate it if you bought us a coffee. And the links are going to be on... Chris, where are the links for Buy Me a Coffee?
You can find one in the bio of our Instagram, and it's also linked on the YouTube.
Gotcha.
Okay. In the bio on the Instagram and on the YouTube. So if you guys are feeling generous, we'd really appreciate it. Help support the channel. Buy us a coffee. Now,
Also,
on to the fan question.
Yeah, we got a fan question.
Israel, who's this from?
This is we got this one off YouTube. John's on Vector 1 asks
Johnson.
Oh.
John on's the Vector.
John S on VC Dector.
Johnson Vector 1 on YouTube.
Johnson Vector 1 on YouTube asks, if I have cauliflower ears and I want to join the Army, will it affect me getting in? And is 19 too late to join? I'll answer the second question first. No, 19 is not too late. Well, how
chuckle,
young,
dude.
how young do
How
you
young?
think we need to be?
Dude, what are you fucking...
We start recruiting at 9.
He's like, I retired by the age of 19.
Yeah, really. By the
Dude.
time you're 19, you're kind of an honored veteran at that point.
You know you can join the military up to 38.
Yeah, I didn't join the military till after college when I was 25.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, man, yeah.
And
It
that's
is
a little
not
late.
too late
That
to
is
join,
not
my
too
friend.
late,
I
no.
joined at 17. You're just 2 years up. You're fine. Okay, and to answer your first question, I think if you have cauliflower ears, you should join the
That's
military.
right. And you should go into the Rangers.
Yeah, because you obviously are into combat sports.
Because if we've learned anything from this podcast, looks are not a factor for joining the
No,
Rangers.
cauliflower ears. I had one E7 and 275 that had the worst cauliflower ear because he was a legit MMA fighter while he was in regiment.
No, I would think as long as there's no hearing issues, right?
Yeah, no,
That's
as long
kinda
as
the
you
main
can
thing.
hear fine, your cauliflower ear shouldn't be a problem. Honestly, like I said, I encourage you to join if you have cauliflower ear because it
Yes.
means you have a wrestling background. Unless you're just born with cauliflower ear, if that's a thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not a thing. You mean you've been getting knocked around.
You need a little rough and tumble, and I think
Yeah.
that's an asset in the
So
military.
go ahead. For all those that have cauliflower ear, join the Army Rangers.
John's on Vector. Go for it.
Yeah, John's on Vector. Johnson Vector 1. We hope you answered your question. Yes, you can join the Army with cauliflower ears. And 19 is honestly too early to join, if you ask me.
Too early. Get
Too
some
early.
life experience.
Get some life
Go
experience.
to college
No,
first.
you're
like I
fine,
did.
man. You're fine. Well,
With that,
with that, let's do our game.
that's the game time, baby.
All right, guys. You ready for the game?
Yes.
I'm ready, Chris. I'm excited.
All right.
I love these games.
This game is so simple, even Cam can understand it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a burn, Chris.
Burn.
He's
Taking
so
my
salty
shots.
because I always make fun of him because he wears running shoes with
Running
jeans.
shoes with jeans.
And that is a fashion no-no, folks.
Unless you have to stand for 8 hours while recording a podcast. So,
It's okay.
this game is
Stand
called
barefoot.
Who Do I Work For? Okay, I'm going to give you the name of a character from pop culture. You have to tell me if they're Delta, SF, Ranger, or SEAL.
Nice.
Oh, this is a cool game.
Cool, man.
Let's
If
do
you-
it.
if you
Who
wanna-
does number 2
if
work
you-
for?
If you want a hint, okay, I'll tell you the actor that plays the character.
Okay.
And if you want an additional hint, I'll say the name of the movie.
Okay,
Ah.
cool.
If it were any easier, it'd be called Patty Cake.
Ah, gotcha.
Just kidding. This game is hard as balls. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you
Let's do
ready?
it.
All right. So
Ready.
this is the warm up. Cameron Poe.
Cameron Poe was an Army Ranger.
That's from
Con Air.
Con Air. That's right.
Correct. That's Nick Cage and Con Air. He was an Army Ranger. Very good.
Yes,
So
because
that was the warm up.
Because I watched Con Air and he has the same first name as me and he's from the same Ranger Battalion as me.
Second Ranger.
Yeah, he's from Second Ranger.
All right.
Cameron from 275.
All right. Here we go.
And yes, I've been to jail.
First one. Master Chief John James Ergale.
He was a Navy SEAL.
Well, yeah, it has to be Master Chief.
Master Chief.
Yeah, but we're trying to see. Well, I mean, do we need?
No, you can.
That's it. Just
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, Navy SEAL.
He's a SEAL. It's Viggo Mortensen and G.I. Jane.
Hey,
Nice.
okay, all right.
Okay.
If you guys want, I can let you try to guess actor and movie.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm
Lieutenant
going off ranks right now.
Seek life
That's how I'm
elsewhere.
going to win.
All right. Jack Bauer.
Jack Bauer.
Well, he works for CTU, Counterterrorism Unit, in 24. This is Kiefer Sutherland's character. But I can't remember what his military background is.
Special Forces.
I'm gonna say he's Green Beret, just because I want him to be.
It's correct.
Hey, all right.
Nice.
Okay,
Here we
cool.
go. When in
Special
doubt.
Forces.
I can
When in
see
doubt,
that.
Navy SEAL
That's good
or
for his character too.
yeah. When in
Good
doubt,
enough.
Navy SEAL
Unconventional
or
warfare.
SF.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. BJ Blazkowski.
Blazkowski.
Or
Not
Blazkowicz.
BJ
Blazkowicz.
Blazkowicz. That
what I meant.
he was. Well, this is Wolfenstein. He's the main character in
Oh.
Wolfenstein.
He was Special Forces, right?
I want to say. Well, I mean, World War II. I want to say. Yeah, I would
Oh
say
wait, no. If he's in World War II, Special Forces wasn't even.
he's got to be a
up
ranger
there.
then,
He's either
because Green Berets didn't exist back then.
okay. Then yeah, I would say Army Ranger. I'm thinking because the Marine Raiders were stood up in 2005. What other SEALs were?
I was gonna say OSS, but that was British.
yeah,
OSS
no.
is kind of the template for the Green Berets, what they eventually became.
Okay, yeah. Then we're gonna say Army Ranger then.
So Rangers.
That is correct.
Yeah. Now look at us using history. Look
I know.
at us knowing things.
Yeah, look at you guys. I'm impressed. All right. Phil Coulson.
Phil Coulson.
Agents of Shield, Avengers.
Avengers.
Yeah, he gets stabbed in the back by Loki in the first Avengers movie.
Do you know the name of the actor that played him?
Oh, he has a weird like his first name sounds like his last name. His last name sounds like a first name.
Amy knows.
No, it's oh man, I met him. I sat next to him in the makeup when I did background for
When
Agents
I
of
was doing
Shield
my makeup.
with frickin' Hudson. What's his name? Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton was there that day.
Amy,
He said hi to me.
He said hi to me.
He did say hi to me.
What was he though?
Well, let's try to find out who he was first.
I mean, if he was an agent of Shield, is very, very pop culture really.
It seemed like he was
sound
maybe
show.
like he seemed
Probably
like he would be
SEAL.
in the Air Force.
I'm gonna say Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL.
I'm gonna say that just because it's Marvel and they like to milk the shit out of the most known units.
All right, I'll go with you on that one. Let's say Navy SEAL.
He was an Army Ranger.
What?
Really? Wow.
I think it's more in the comics. I don't think it comes up in the MCU or anything. But
Really?
yeah,
I'm
Wow.
trying to think of his
That's cool.
name, the actor's name. What is it, Amy? Clark Gregg. See, it's two first names.
Yeah,
Greg?
yeah, it
Clark
could-
Gregg?
And I always want to say
Greg
Greg Clark because that sounds normal.
Greg
but
Clark sounds, yeah.
Clark Gregg does not sound
Yeah,
normal.
his
yeah,
last
no
name
matter
sounds
how
like
his
his
name
first name.
appears in the phone book, it could still be a name.
Right.
Yes.
Although Greg has 2 G's in it. Okay.
That's fine.
Marcus Luttrell.
Marcus Luttrell was a Navy SEAL
Navy
played
SEAL.
by Wahlburgers.
Yeah, Marcus Luttrell, lone survivor.
Yeah, Navy SEAL.
Wahlburgers.
All correct. Very good.
Yep.
I am thoroughly impressed so far.
There you go.
We only
All
missed the Ranger one.
Yeah, you only missed Phil Coulson so far.
Yeah.
Who played Mike Murphy?
Mike Murph.
Yeah, in Lone Survivor. What's
Was
that
it Ben
actor's
Foster?
name? What's that?
Was it Ben Foster?
No, not Ben Foster.
I don't
now
know.
I'm trying to. Now I forgot his name. Just left me. It's freaking John Carter of Mars. Also, what is it?
Oh, Taylor Kitsch?
Taylor Kitsch. There you go.
There we go.
Now
All right.
you won. That is correct, Chris. You've won my game.
Yay! All right. Jill Valentine.
Jill Valentine.
That's Resident Evil. She's one of the main characters from Resident Evil. Well, she's not a police. She's a police officer. She's in Stars, but she has a military background.
She does.
Was she psyops? Was she civil affairs? She couldn't have been in a combat arms unit.
Well, this is a video game.
There's
Okay.
only 4 choices.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to say, just because she's a lady, that she was in civilian affairs.
I mean, I'm gonna say like Rangers, because it's like.
I'm going to
'Cause it's a
say,
video
like, Special
game.
Forces, because
Alright.
it's a video game.
Delta.
What? She was in Delta Force?
There's women in Delta Force.
There are women in Delta Force.
Yeah, actually, there are women in CAG support.
Okay.
I didn't go over that, did I?
No.
Yes, there is. So
I like how
there's-
it connects up to the episode today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there is besides Delta, they also have a Delta support, which is an awesome job.
Listen,
They are amazing. Yeah, and there's women in there, and they're
hey,
badass.
and I'm sure they deserve to be there. If they're in there, I'm sure they deserve.
yeah, that's
they
like your
made the
canine
standard.
section. That's like your armorers. That's like your supply
As
guys.
long as
They
you
were
can meet
cool.
the standard.
Yeah, oh yeah.
As long as you can meet the standard. That's Israel's only rule.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He
All
was
right.
in Delta support. Yes.
Jason Bourne.
Jason, my God, it's Jason Bourne.
Yeah, that's
He
Jason
was-
Bourne. Matt
He
Damon.
was Special Forces, right?
The Bourne Identity movies.
I've
Special
never.
Forces.
Yeah.
I feel like he was a Ranger. Because Rangers are hardcore. Because he went into Treadstone after his military service, so he was either a Marine or he was. I'm going to say Ranger. Wait, I'm going to say Navy SEAL.
I'm going to say he was just a Marine.
That's not a choice, Cameron.
It has to be either Rangers, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, or...
I think he was a recon Marine.
That's not a choice.
Yes, it is. Because if you're talking about Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, he's described as a recon Marine sniper.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Okay.
We're talking about Jason Bourne.
Jason Bourne is
In
Special
this.
Forces.
All right, Cam guessed Special Force. What's your guess, Israel?
I
You
forgot
said Ranger,
now.
right?
I said Ranger.
All right, it's Special Forces.
Thank
Oh,
you.
he's a Green Beret.
I'll take that.
I should have known
All right, and the final one. This one's tough because it requires you have to like crappy movies to know who this is. Major Scott McCoy.
Scott
that.
McCoy.
Oh, wow.
Major Scott
Major
McCoy.
Scott
And again,
McCoy.
if you want a hint, I can tell you the actor, and then I can tell you the name of the movie. But if I tell you the name of the movie, it's going to give it away.
Oh, okay. I feel like this is like Behind Enemy Lines, like Owen Wilson. But that wasn't a bad movie.
Major Scott McCoy. Honestly, I'm going to say Navy SEAL.
Navy SEAL. I'm gonna say Navy SEAL too. It sounds like a Navy SEAL.
If you said it's a terrible movie, it's probably about Navy SEAls.
the
Ooh,
ratio
burn.
of good to bad movies with Navy SEALs is very
Yeah.
high. So.
All right, Major Scott McCoy, played by Chuck Norris, in the movie Delta
Delta Force.
No.
and he was an Army Ranger.
Here's an Army
What?
Ranger.
No, he was in Delta Force.
He's in Delta Force.
Oh my God, that's
the movie
okay.
Delta
It's
Force.
got Lee
Sure.
Marvin. It's got
Never seen the movie.
Ed Kennedy.
There's a great story about Lee Marvin buying some returning Vietnam War veterans some drinks at a bar. There's a play. This is so sidetracked, but like there's a play called Welcome Home Soldier, and it's all true accounts of it's like in play form of Vietnam veterans. You know, like good stuff, bad stuff, and it's a really great play, very patriotic, very cool. And there's a story in it about Lee Marvin buying a couple of veterans some drinks.
Some beers. Well, that's good.
So thank you, Lee Marvin.
Well, very
Thank
good,
Chuck
you
Norris.
guys.
Thank you.
That was a fun
good
game,
one.
Chris.
That
I
was
believe
really
you
good.
did 5 out of 8.
Yeah.
Was it 5 out of
Pretty
8?
good.
It's a
Not
strong
bad.
C
Yeah,
average.
that was fun.
Yeah, it was
I
cool.
gotta know how you come up with these ones, because when
I
it's
love
my
it.
job to come up with a game, it's
Well, I
it's
took
like a
the
full
theme
day.
of the episode, and then I was like, there's been enough movies. I almost did Michael Bean's character in Navy SEALs, but I was like, you're never going to know the name of that character. But if I said
played-
Michael Bean, you would have known.
Did he play Navy SEALs twice? Because was he in Navy
was
SEALs
in
or were
The
we just in
Rock.
the Abyss? Oh, he was in The Rock and the Abyss.
Oh, and The Abyss. And the movie Navy SEAls with
Was
Charlie
that him?
Sheen. Mhm.
That was okay.
Yeah,
so
so
he played
Michael
in Navy
Bean plays, that's his bread and butter.
Nice.
He's either that or a soldier from the future sent back to save a woman.
Or a psycho landlord in the movie The Divide. Did
He's
you ever
in
see The
Tombstone.
Divide?
No, and with that, I bid you adieu.
And with that, we're coming to the end of the episode, folks. We appreciate you guys listening. I hope you had a good time. Hope it was informative. Let us know. I knew you'd get it in there.
There it is.
Let us know what other stuff you guys would like to hear us talk about. We love hearing your suggestions. We're actually going to take action on a few of them. So if you want to send us a correspondence, go ahead and check us on Instagram, pcfmpodcast, or write us an email at pcfmpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, I live stream on Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/myhappyself. We have a new channel
Yes, we do.
called Shift Fire.
Not fire.
No, not to be confused with that other channel.
Yeah.
Shift Fire. It's live now as of the recording of this episode, and we got new content coming out very soon. It's me and Cameron's brand new show,
Cameron and I.
appreciation and exploration of all things military and firearms culture. So
Yeah, so it's going to be super excited. We can't wait for you guys to see it. Check it out, Shift Fire on YouTube. If you guys want to support my streetwear brand, go ahead and check out Kit God Apparel, KITGOD Apparel on Instagram or on our website, kitgodapparel.com. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode just as much. Oh, okay. You okay?
no, it's okay. It's good. The end of the episode's
It's that throat thrashing you
gosh.
got. Anyways, thanks you guys for listening in your cars. Cue music.